you have $300,000 on your savings on your IUL savings account. You pass away and you give your kid $200,000, but you also teach him how to sign up for his own IUL and build his own wealth and his own investments, and he's building his companies, multiple sources of income. Now your kid is going to pass over the money to the grandkids, right? And now the grandkids understand that because now they have money, now they're rich, they have a rich last name, that it took you guys to build it. You know, it took you guys to make the first step to getting your initial life insurance investments, and or even your business investments. They already in their head that they have to invest in order to have wealth. And now you're breaking the whole chains of the Latinos because they don't teach us how to do that.
What's up, everybody? We're back again. Happy to Hustle episode. What is it, honey? Number 5.
I knew it this time.
We are back and we are super excited. We have a great guest today. We're going to learn so much from this guy. We are going.
He needed an applause. I hope they heard it this time because last time I pushed the buttons, my audience couldn't hear it.
Yeah, she gets bummed out when doesn't pull through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so me and this guy, we go way back. I mean, from 2014. This guy is a monster. I learned so much from him. I got a lot of sales experience from him. He's a great dude. He's got a great story, and I'm really excited to introduce him. So without further ado, tell us, who are you?
What's going on? Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Uriel Adame. In English is Uriel Adame. So was this thing with my name since I was a kid. So I
was
ended up calling myself Uri or Yuri. So everybody can call me Yuri. Made it a lot easier. But yeah, been in many industries. When we met, you and I were in the auto parts industry. I think I was territory manager, and you were there hustling with the battery programs, and it was nice, man, seeing you evolve, seeing us evolve, this, because this is almost what, over 10 years, 11 years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's crazy how many things can happen just within the gap of time.
absolutely. I mean, that's we've been following each other for a long time, and I've seen the growth in you, and you've seen me throughout all my stages. I mean, you met me at my biggest, and you know
At the
we're
heavy to hustle.
absolutely. So just tell us about you. What have you done this last decade?
This last decade. Ah, man, it was just this roller coaster, man. So I remember first, I first got hired by AutoZone. I was a key carrier, just selling auto parts behind the counter. But this is where like the interesting things started happening, visualizations, right? The thing is like when we start, our environment is so tight that we don't see anything farther than that. My biggest I remember I used to visualize being assistant manager, and every time I was signing, like documents, whatever papers with the assistant manager, I'd be like, oh, my signature is there sometimes, I wanted to be an assistant manager, then became an assistant manager. I did the same thing for store manager, I became a store manager. It was nice working for AutoZone for a while. Then I transitioned into territory manager at O'Reilly Auto Parts. I was there for a long time. I jumped into factory motor parts where we met. I don't know if that was back in, I can't remember. Was it 2014?
Yeah, it was around
SMP,
2014.
Wasn't
Yeah.
it?
MP. Yeah, that's right.
And at that point, I thought I was really good in sales, but I didn't really know anything about sales, like the science behind it.
Right.
Working there, I remember I opened up a mechanic shop. It was one of my customers sold me a shop. He's like, hey man. And it was funny because I tell you how it was. There was this random Wednesday. I went in and visited up this repair shop owner, and he was tying up his ATVs. He was gonna go on a vacation. And it was like a random date. And I was like, man, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm going on vacation. And I was like, but like it's not even vacation time. Why would you go? And he's like, when you're a business owner, you own your time. And then thinking back at working for corporate, it hit me. I was like, fuck, man, like this people actually have time off. And that was like the seed for me to like planning a life where I can be free, where I can be in multiple places, but at the same time liking money, right? So I was like, damn, I mean, I'm a lot smarter than this guy. I know I can open up a repair shop. And so, but it was like the universe calling, man. It was so freaking random. I get a call from this guy. His name is Chris. He's owned 2 repair shops. And he's like, man, I'm selling a repair shop. I heard you're looking for one. He's like, take mine. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, this is a scam or something. And I know this guy pretty close, Chris.
Right.
So he's like, man, look, listen, this the shop manager that is running my second shop, I noticed that he's been stealing from me. I caught him, and now he's gonna open up a shop right next to me and take all my customers. He's like, I don't even need this shop. I make enough money on my shop. He's like, take it. He's like, just give me 15,000 and just take everything, take the whole business.
Hold on. So this guy, I mean, it really sounds like it was just out of just hatred for his partner. He's like,
Yeah.
you know what?
Out of spite, like,
And
big fuck you.
so I'm assuming that this was like equipment. I mean,
Everything, bro. Everything. It was the shop. Here's the keys, run it.
Oh my
wow.
god.
Bro, I don't even have to give him the 15,000 out front because I made him in like a month and a half or two.
Right, right,
He's like, yeah, he just didn't want this guy to run the shop. And it sucked because the shop manager, he was white and all the customers were, Caucasian. So they literally took all the customers. And so I had to kind of like start it all from scratch.
right, right.
But luckily I was in the industry. I mean, I was already selling auto parts. So,
Yeah, it's and it honestly, it's such a small, it's a small world.
mhm.
It really is.
Yeah, and I was like, "Well, I'm opening up my own account, so I don't have to worry about, outsourcing parts. I know which ones are the best ones.
Right,
I know which one is a good software." So I was like, "Yeah, I can do this," and I loved it, man. It became a point where I remember I was getting in trouble with my manager. He said that I wasn't putting enough effort, and I was like, "Bro, Wendell, I love Wendell. We still talk actually." And I told him, I'm like, man, what I make in a weekend is what I make in 2 weeks working for you. And I'm actually still working here. I have a shop manager. I seen this shop as another store, like just hire good crew, manage it, and then just go check in. And it
right,
was good, man. I was making like 30,000 a month, on that. I mean, that was like net sales, and my take home was probably like 10 grand,
right.
and I was making way more money than what I used to make at FMP. And so, yeah, there's this thing where I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna quit, I'm just gonna leave it all. And yeah, man, it started working out, started working out for me. I was very quiet. I didn't even tell a lot of people, man, like what I was like cooking and stuff. And,
Yeah,
and then,
it's hard. It's hard to kind of really want to, voice it out because, it's the beginning stages, especially like in the work environment. I mean, did you tell anybody there that you were running this shop or did you feel like it was gonna, hinder your job or, it was gonna, really piss off, even your bosses?
well, it was more about because it was conflict of interest.
Right, right,
Because I was fixing trucks from O'Reilly's, from Addison, from, shops that I knew, and then it was the auto parts part because I was giving myself, like, the best prices, the best tiers.
right, of course.
And so and I knew how to open those credit lines and everything, so it made a lot of sense, but I just didn't wanna expose it because then, you see people that are just gonna start making your business go down or whatever. It just didn't want none of that energy, but it worked out. It worked out
Oh,
so well. Man, I remember that, and this is my character, and I know it's part of your character too. You're one of those people that, and I think this is why we click. You want to grow. Like you're in a stage where you're like, fuck, I built this thing. Now I have a lot of time. What else can I do? What else can I do? And it becomes a growth of the addiction. You just want to keep growing.
yeah.
It's a sort of, I mean, it could be good and it could be bad, because there is when is it enough? Sometimes we don't even know because you might achieve your goal, but then you feel like you can achieve something bigger and you want to go hunt another thing. And then you have to learn how to have the balance. I don't have the balance, man. I go 0 to 100 and I don't care. I just go all in and figure it out. And
Right.
so I already did ayahuasca like 5 times,
Shut
so
up.
anything that has to do with like holistic things, I'm in there, man. Like it's this beautiful thing. But
Okay, when you got out of okay, let's just real quick. The first time you did it, like after that, is it true that like you never see life the same again?
yes, yes, yes.
Really?
Okay, I'm just gonna make it very short. So my buddy, he's like, I was like, bro, so where do I start? Like, just give me feedback. Like, well, the first thing you want to do is go do ayahuasca. I don't know what the hell ayahuasca was. Uh,
Yeah.
but I was so committed and I didn't give a fuck. I'm like, yeah, sign me up. Where do I go? Well, you have to find a place. He's like, I go to Colombia to get it done. And I was like, fuck, I can't leave right now. Like I'm like, hey, where else? It's like, well, there's communities in Silicon Valley that they do it. You have to find it. I was like, okay. So I found they connect me with someone, but it's because it's illegal. So it was like so secret. Like you have to go through like this whole filters of questions and blah blah blah. And I was able to find it, right? So ayahuasca is like, I don't know, man. I really connect ayahuasca with religion madly because so let's say this is the fear of death, of dying, and then this is the love, the most love you can experience with your kids, right? I would assume. So you start way beyond the fear of death and you end up way after the love that you can actually feel and experience.
Remember I was telling you?
Wow.
It's that's I guess that's like what a lot of people can picture or describe it. It's like the immense amount of love and you
And
just
the immense amount of fear. It's like equals. It's literally equals, man. It's
So you
oh,
you
oh,
trip
so
out or do you
I,
like, you know
yeah, you trip out for hours. I mean, it's like all of us have obstacles in life. And
right.
that's the purpose why people in Silicon Valley do ayahuasca because they want to remove everything that is holding them from achieving greatness, you know. And so you have to be able to like understand your life in a different point of view, like on a third person view. So dude, I was freaking out when I did Aya because I didn't want to search it online. I just didn't care because I knew that if I find it, I was gonna get scared of it and I wasn't gonna do it. But I was already committed to it because this guy, I trust this guy with my life. If he says it's good, then it's good. I'm doing it. And yeah, I found a place in the Marine County right after the Golden Gate Bridge, this beautiful community. This guy had a beautiful house in the forest. The backyard was the forest. So we're out there camping, and they brought this chairman from Colombia. And fuck, man, I remember when I got there, I was like, all right, so it's 20 people in on a circle, right? The chairman is in the middle. I'm like, I'm just gonna go in front of them. So I don't want to be like the person that hits them first, and then like everybody looking at them all weird, or like be the last one and looking at everybody all weird. So I was like, I'll just be in the middle. Bro, I was the first one that hit that guy, like, it hit me right away. Like, I don't know, and I'm so big and it was just like this thing where I was like, "Alright, fuck, I'm gonna do it," and boom, it started hitting me. I remember that I was sitting in front of the chairman, and so I was, like, just thinking, meditating, and I started seeing all those, images, I don't know, you seen those colors, those images, purple,
you are tripping,
Mm.
green. I
tripping.
started seeing that coming in when my eyes were closed, and it was like they wanted to seal up or something, right? So every
Holy
time I see them coming, up in my eyes and everything go away. I was like, "Oh shit, it's hitting me. Okay, I gotta get ready. I gotta get ready." And I close my eyes and I see those things closing, 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 open up, and they're gone. And then I open my eyes again, and then all of a sudden, when my eyes open, it just started clean. Boom, everything's sealed, and you're like, you flew. I flew into a different dimension.
no
This
way.
is this is when you see all the images, you see like the trip, the
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 trauma.
red light, and it was crazy, man.
Hold on, I don't wanna see no trauma. I wanna see the colors, but not the traumas.
I mean, I'm assuming that's what it does, right?
It does?
You get to a point where you meet Mother Ayahuasca, la abuelita. It's a grandma. Everybody, I didn't see it, I felt her. And I was next to her. Every person that gets to see her, they see a snake, you know? the big snake. I didn't see her right after, and we'll go in detail later about, the whole ayahuasca experience. But when I was with her, she started showing me my life as when I was a kid, when I had my first traumatic experience, right? I was like, all right, well, this is kind of how it works. She shows you your trauma, and then fast forwards your life to the future, and then you see that thanks to this trauma, you have this blessing. You have this blessing, and now you understand. Yeah, it's not about fixing; it's about understanding.
Understanding why you went
Now,
through it.
yeah. So now you see, I had to experience this in order to receive this, and I'm grateful because of this negative experience. And you
Right.
seal the case, you know. And it's really hard to see that just by meditating or thinking about it because you're blocked. Your emotions are blocked. This
And
one,
I think what this does, it expands your understanding of life, and our brains can only understand so much, and you open up to something like that. I
yeah.
mean, it has to give you a higher power, or there has to be a higher power.
It's something, bro. Like I can't. I honestly, man, for what I seen, I believe so much in the Bible because of that. I believe so much more in God because of that. And you might think that, oh, because it's holistic and spirits and whatever. No, it allows you to see different things that not everybody can see, and not everybody has the balls to actually face their fears, and that's the biggest challenge. You
Yeah,
know, having the balls to like actually seeing your past and reviving the pain. People even have so much pain that they didn't even remember the pain because their own mind like hid it, suppress that. And at this point, bro, there's people that say if you're gonna have a child, you don't want your kid, and you keep throwing that negative energy to the kid, you're already building a trauma on the kid that is unwanted, and rejected. And you don't even know why they feel rejected all their life, or why they have that blockage of rejections is because of like literally when they were in the womb. So yeah,
yeah.
man, ayahuasca to me is the only medicine that it gives you a to-do list. It gives you a to-do list.
Yeah,
Mm.
It
it's like
tells you like, look, this is the bad people in your life. This is the people that you're not taking, you're not really taking, this is the good people in your life, and this is the bad people that are just gonna drag it down. You know, bro, when I was a kid, I was a bully. I was always like super tall. I knew how to fight. I used to box since I was like 12, and I was always bullying people because I know they couldn't do anything to me. Even up to today, nobody like messes with me. Like I haven't gotten enough fights since like maybe like one street fight all my life, but I always like wanted to take advantage of that because I knew people were afraid of me. And I remember like this well, I don't even remember her. Like even ayahuasca told me, "Oh, you have to go and apologize to people that you hurt when you were a kid." And this is people that I didn't even know for 20 years. There was one, Maria, and she was like, "You're a bully to her. You really hurt her. You have to go back and apologize." You know? And I was like, "Fuck, okay." There was things about like I didn't see my dad for 30 years. I hated my dad. I didn't want to talk to him. And so she made me see things that I realized, me as a father, I understood why he walked away and all this shit that happened. Long story short, I had my to-do list and I started working on it. I called a girl, I found a girl on Facebook, and I was like, Maria, it's Will. Oh, how you been? Blah blah. And like, look, the reason why I'm looking for you is because I hurt you in the past. I was an asshole. I wanted to apologize, and I wanted to see if there's anything I can do now to make it better. She's like, no, what are you talking about? We were kids, don't worry about it. I was like, no, I worry about it. And she just broke down in tears and she's like, yeah, you're an asshole. Yeah.
That's crazy. It's like she held on to that for all those years.
Yeah, I even get emotional now, bro. So yeah, so I apologized to her, bro, and then I reached out to my dad. I was like, hey man, look, I don't know you as a father, but I want to get to know you as a friend, maybe, and take baby steps. Yeah, man, like it turns out that this guy was like one of the biggest salespersons in his company, and I just got a lot of tips from him, in
Yeah,
sales.
the
I
apple from
guess
the
I got it from him. Yeah, and so I made friends with them. I found out I have a brother, and I talked to my new brother and a new brother, and so, but the point is that what ayahuasca did, bro, like I'm on a point of life where I'm blessed, bro. I have no money problems. I have a beautiful girlfriend, bro. I have a beautiful daughter, man. My mom, everybody's around me. I have no problems at work. Like it's just life is so good. But it took me facing my obstacles and fix them so so I can have more peace in my life. And that's why I value the most in life, having peace of mind. A lot of people don't understand what it's like not having problems, man. But a lot of people, like, literally, like, I tell people, write down your problems on a piece of paper and then attach each one of those problems to people that you might think they're causing those problems. Now think about removing each one of these people out of the equation, and how many problems do you have? You'd be surprised that people don't have problems. People actually give you problems, and that's what people don't know, how to let go. You have to fucking do a cleanup.
I think a lot of times it's, you know, you don't let go of those problems, or better yet, those people, because maybe sometimes it's not really like strangers or friends or whatnot. Sometimes it can be family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. But even if it's family, man, if they're hurting you, you have to be selfish. This is your life. This is your own train. People hop on, hop off. You know you're gonna be there for a long time. I mean, look, even myself, like my I love my mom. I'm the only one that calls her. I'm the one that's always behind her and everything. But I learned how to distance myself from stress and problems. I'm there for her when she needs me, but I learned how to kind of like stay away from things, and I do that a lot. If I see somebody, like, think about, this is your energy on the day, right? It's full. Anything that can happen, you got pissed off, they're taking your energy away. Positive energy, positive energy. So you have to maintain your bucket full of good energy and not allow nobody just to come and take it from you. And that's what a lot of people fuck up, man, because their life is miserable, not because of them, not because of the resources, it's because their environment, you know and I learned that by moving to different places, being in different places. Like, it's don't get attached to anything, because it can hurt you. I mean, if it's good, stick around, bring it on board. But it's your life, and you have to be selfish, and so, yeah. So that's what like, ayahuasca taught me. I already did ayahuasca like 5 times. I'm supposed to do it again. I'm scared every time I do it. I'm scared. This is not like one thing that you do it once and you're already good with it. No, I get freaked out. I get nervous. I get into panic attacks, bro. It's crazy because ayahuasca is so strong.
See, now I do that
No.
because you know
Yeah.
what? Like I'm like on that journey right now of releasing just people, even family that, they're just been there's a lot of pouring in, but not pouring back.
Yeah.
And that's just taken a toll on my life. And I'm 37 now.
Mhm.
And I've tried a very long time to have a peaceful environment in my life and
Yeah.
just go with the flow. But because I was going with the flow and taking a lot of shit,
Yeah.
found myself in a very unhappy state. So I said, enough is enough. If I see that I don't belong and not in a perfect place, then or a place where I'm appreciated and understood, then it's okay, but I'm gonna step away. And ever since I did that, everything has just been smooth, you know?
It's because you're taking care of yourself,
Yeah.
and it happens. Like, look, you guys are like the perfect sample. I was talking to my nephew today. I wanted to bring him more working with us. He lives in Texas, and he's making like $10 an hour. He was telling me he's stressed out. He's 19. And I was like, all right, man, you have to fix three things in your life. God first. And dude, I'm like, before I start a new job, I go and talk to God, and I'm like, bless me, bless me, bless me, bless me. And I always feel like abundant. Like, I'm always on this abundance mindset. If I find a penny on the floor, I'll get down and I'll pick up the penny and look up and thank God. Thank you for abundance. This is your ways of showing me money. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anything, any money comes in, I'm always, blessing it, blessing it. I told my nephew, I'm like, you're already part of, like, he's like the biggest God believer. He's a brain cancer survivor, and so he told us, like, he was never afraid of the tumor, because he knew he was going to survive, because God was with him and he's seen him. So he believes in God madly. And so I was like, you already have that taken care of. Number two, it's communication. You got to learn how to talk to people, you know, and the best way to do it is books, understand books, psychology, persuasion, negotiation, and all those factors. You have to become addicted about learning, understanding, and really caring about listening to people.
Having emotional intelligence more
Yeah,
than anything. A lot of people don't have that, and that's why, you run into a lot of problems in life.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
nowadays with a lot of these younger kids, they don't have, you know, they don't know how to communicate with people because they're so
Oh,
everything's text, email, like,
burgers.
Mm.
there's none of that anymore.
How old are your kids?
We have a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 18-year-old.
Wow, you remember.
You should do that pod. No, I think and it's funny how it is true because my daughter, she was like very introverted, like, oh, I don't want, bro. My daughter lives in West Covina, right? So we have to go to the movie theater in Chino because she doesn't want to be around West Covina because she don't want to be seen by her friends or like random people. Like there was this one time that we went to the movies and she made me like literally cover my face and cover her up because she don't want to be seen. I was like, what the hell? It's this generation, man. And so I told my nephew, I was like, okay, the next thing that you gotta build up is your body. You know, you have to because once the three and you experience that, once the three of them align, better things happen to you. You know, once you're good with God, once you're good in your mindset, and once you're good with your body, everything just starts flowing. Everything just starts aligning for you. And so, and those are the first things you want to fix, you know? And I don't know, how do you feel about that? Because does that make sense?
No, it does. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Because, like I said, I go back to where I found myself in life where and it wasn't just in the situation that I'm in right now, it's just in general in life, I would just be, like, quiet. I wouldn't say anything. If something bothered me, dude, I'd let it eat me up inside. I'd be like, "Ni modo," así son, or "That's family," or "That's this
Hmm.
or that," and justifying, and I wouldn't say anything. When you put in the work as far as your discipline in your physical body, you start to get and you start to engage all these new things in life. Not only are you doing that, so you get the self-respect for yourself. You get your place. You learn to give yourself that place in this world. Alongside with that, you're working on your mental, your problem solving, all these things that have been obstacles in your life that haven't
Yep.
allowed you to excel, to protect yourself, to talk up, and just to speak up, you know. Um, and once you get through that, then you get into the position where you're like, okay, now I'm changing things in life. I'm more disciplined in my health in the gym, which leads me to be more disciplined in life, more organized, leads me to be more disciplined and organized in my business and just business in general. Like there's no slacking, there's no time for BS because you're so organized, you're on point, and that also leads you to have a better outcome in life, more positive,
Absolutely.
you know, you're in a better place to where now you're just like you can have conversations with someone and your intuition is so high because you're so cleared of all the bullshit. You can just be talking to someone and you're just like, "Nope,
Bullshit.
I can see right through it." And that's what people don't understand. Like, I've been having conversations with people lately, and they're just like, "No, you have to understand that's just how they are. You have to let them be. You can't." Bullshit. No, I will step away 1000% because if you don't wanna progress, if you don't wanna advance in life, you don't wanna be better for your surroundings, then you could stay there, but I'm out,
No,
you know?
it's definitely it it's full circle. It definitely improved the moment that we got our health on point,
Yeah.
we got closer to God, we quit really wasting our time with, mindless things of, just always watching TV or
I
real
don't watch TV.
I mean,
Can't
once we
stand it.
really like, I don't I'm not gonna say I read, but I like to do research. I mean, I talk to ChatGPT all the time and like I'm always like critically thinking about things that
The
can
next move.
But even before that, bro, like that was the reason why we clicked because I seen you guys. I seen when she walked into your life, and I seen how you were struggling, and then I seen the hustle, like you trying to become something. I remember when the pandemic hit, you guys opened up a company like like the office. What was it called? Like the
yeah, we
Oh,
did
the
COVID
tea, yeah.
disinfection.
yeah, COVID disinfection, and you were like, you guys were hustling, trying to figure out. But what I did notice the pattern was that the way you guys were looking better in getting better in shape, your economics got even better. They're tied up to each other. And so I always say that it's like you have to build this discipline where like I'm so predictable. I do the same thing over and over and over again. I like to travel. I like to get out there. I like to do a lot of experiences. But when it comes to getting done and dirty, is as long as I have this, because I have this bad ADHD, man. Like I get distracted so bad. I'm always like, I don't want like to get a medicine because then I become a zombie. And so, but I noticed that as long as I wake up at the same time, I go work at the same time, I put in my time, that's all it takes. Just put in the time. But people just want automatic gratification. And that's what brings us well, let me get back into the line because we're getting distracted. But yeah, so right after ayahuasca and after the company crashed, that was my worst time in life that I have experienced, man, because think about this. The company was my baby. My investments, my life, my business, everything was there, right? And when I ran out of money, when I had no savings, when I had no money, like no way to make money, I was like, holy fuck. Next thing you know, I was living with a domestic partner back then. We were having so many problems already. And then I walk into the house and she's gone, right? So the company's gone, my relationship is gone, my bank account is gone, and I'm like sitting in the corner of my bed, man. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I was just becoming this fire out CEO. And then you know how when you go through a breakup, you go through like this phase of like, when you feel like crap and all this stuff. I felt that, but it also felt the same through the business because no matter what I did, I wasn't loving it. I knew how to sell. That wasn't the problem, dude. Like I was out, no money, bro. It was scary. I remember a year ago before that happened, I was in Vegas hanging out, and there was a bunch of kids, hanging out at the Caesar's Palace, and they had like bottle service. I seen all they're wearing like expensive brands, and I'm like, what the fuck these kids do? Like they're probably like rappers or some shit, right?
Yeah.
So I talked to one of them, and like, yeah, man, I sell solar panels. I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, "You should work with us." And I was like, "Bitch, I'm a CEO. I don't need working with you guys." I'm like, "You don't even know who I am."
I'm not gonna go knock door to door. You guys-
Yes, exactly, bro. And so I was like, no, I'm good, man." So when this thing happened, I went online and I was looking. I like high ticket sales. I like selling, but I like to make commissions. It's not about making $100. I need to make over $1,000 commission for anything I sell. So I was looking for high ticket items that I could sell online or I can sell in person. And I saw solar panels, the industry. It was like growing industry, California giving all these incentives, and panels worked, not no more. And I'll tell you why I left that industry. If a person that is paying $250 on average, they put in panels. They get a $50,000 loan. They put in the panels, and their bill goes down to like $70, and it's fixed. It never goes up. And you're like, how is that shit real? And so I was in TJ back then, and I called this guy, the guy that I met in at the Caesar's Palace, and I was like, "Hey man, are you still in the solar panel industry?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I'm interested." He's like, "Well, I'll tell you how your business." And I was like, "Yeah, it didn't work out." And so he's like, "Well, why don't you pursue it? You should go back to it." And I was like, "Man, if I'm reaching out to you, is because this is not one of the last things I need to do. Like, I can't go back. It's already gone, and my business is gone. I need to rebuild myself." And he's like, "Well, how old are you?" I'm like, "I'm about to hit 40, man." He's like, "Well, you're too old. The average guy knocking doors is like 25 years old. 18 to 25." And I sold it to him. I'm like, "Man, look, this is who you're getting, bro. You're getting a person with all this background, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "I can sell. Don't worry about it." He's like, "Can you make it here by 10?" It was like 7 in the morning. And they were in Walnut. And so I was like, fuck, I hope the line is not bad. So I crossed the line. I drove to Walnut and I made it at 10:30. So when I get there, the guy's like, "Man, we're actually very picky on time. We don't like people being late. We don't want blah blah blah." Man, I literally drove from a different country to come and to come and see you on your meeting. He's like, "What? Where'd you come from?" I'm like, "I was in TJ." He's like, come in." So they bring me in front of the whole team and like, "This guy just came from Tijuana because he wants to work here," and blah blah blah. I was like, "Hey, what the fuck? Okay, okay." And it was a bunch of kids, man. It was a bunch of kids, but
What a Wall Street type.
yeah,
So
well,
it's been
the owner, look, that owner I don't like, the owner of the company, but I still admire. I respect him. He knows how to make money. He knows how to build teams, and I admire that from. I hate him. Is there was like this bad blood between me and him.
You can dislike the guy, but you gotta respect their hustle,
Yeah,
right?
you respect the game. Yeah, he's good, and he's number one employee. This is a 21-year-old making $1 million a year. And you see this little 21-year-old with a freaking G wagon. This guy is driving a freak. I was like, fuck, there's money here. Like, what the fuck? So same thing. I started reading about panels, started reading about the information. I started like I get addicted when I like something. I just hyper focus on that, and I learned pitches even before they taught me how to sell. And so they're like, "Well, you're gonna go knock doors with this person," and I was embarrassed on knocking doors, bro. And remember, like I knew all this sales experience. I was already a sales director. I had a bunch of people working for me. And I thought I knew sales, but not when you're in front of doors. When you get rejected all the time, when you have to build this relationship with people and have them trust you. But I'm really good. I'm thinking outside the box. So I remember they gave me they call it turf, this area where I was like knocking. And so I didn't want to knock with anybody else because if you guys make a sale, you have to split it. And I needed money badly, bro. I was like, fuck, man. I was sleeping on my mom's couch at 40, bro. And then I was going to the gym in the morning. No, I woke up at 4. I started doing DoorDash just so I can get money for food and gas,
Just
right?
just to sustain yourself.
Bro, this is like imagine, bro, like when my dreams were like this high and then you go, it was crazy, man. And so I remember I was waking up early, I was doing DoorDash. Then at 10 a.m., I'll stop doing DoorDash and I'll go into the office because the meetings were at noon. So 2 hours I was just training, reading books, training videos about what I was selling, upping my skills. And then at noon, everybody and they will probably hang out and just have lunch for like an hour. And then at 1 o'clock, everybody be knocking until like 8 p.m. But I didn't want to knock. I just went straight to like knocking on doors. The first day of work, man, I remember I saw this guy working on his vehicle outside in his garage, right? And he was like, his hood was open, like he was maybe something with his battery, right? And I was like, fuck, I grabbed my cables and I pulling into his driveway with the cables outside of my hand. I got you, bro. I got you. And the guy's like, what the fuck? Like, I got the cables, man. You're ran out of battery. Like, no, man. Like, well, yes, but it's a Porsche, so I need to charge it through the outlet because the trunk is connected to the electricity. But oh man, I just wanted to hook you up. I'm sorry. I hate when that happens. Blah blah blah. And he's like, who are you? You live in the area? I'm like, no. You see that guy with the solar panels over there? Oh, I'm keen to check on him. I want to make sure they're working good. I didn't even know that guy. I didn't
Right.
even know. I was just bullshitting. You know fucking Roger? I'm like, yeah, no, I know Roger. Okay. I'm good at creating faces and I'm a
Fake
chameleon.
it till you make it. That's the name of the game in business.
Yeah. And so it was fun. And he's like, yeah, man, I've been thinking about getting solar panels. And I was like, oh no, I don't think you're qualified, man. This is hard to qualify for. What do you
What is
mean? Like, bro, no, I don't even know if I have time and blah, blah, blah. He's like, look, man, I'm gonna bring somebody with me, just so we can get the measurements of the roof, but I don't promise you anything. Bro, that was the first sale. I made $6,000 on that sale,
Wow.
you know? And it was a huge system, bro. And it was like, then, we go back to the next day on the office and everybody's like, what? You're
did you thank Roger for the business?
Didn't
oh,
even
I
know
didn't think
the guy.
I should have gone there.
He's like, "Oh, Roger, I made $6,000."
And so the next day I go into the office and they're like, what the fuck? This guy made a sale? And I thought a good salesperson should have about 20 to 25 sales per month, right? So at the end of the month, I ended up with 13 sales on my first month, and it was really good money. And so I was thinking that I was one of the worst ones. I was like, fuck, I don't even make my numbers. It turns out that the average solar sales rep sells about 3 to 4 systems a month. Next thing you know, I didn't even know, and I won a fucking trip to Miami where like they fucking gave me a Ferrari. They put us on this big old mansion on yachts and blah blah blah. And I was like, oh shit, this is it. This is where I'm gonna make it. And so everything was good until same thing. I started seeing patterns. They sold the company. I kind of know a lot about doing the transition and how things work out. And then I started like smelling bullshit because the money wasn't being paid out. there were being delays, and I was like, something is wrong with this industry, like with this company specifically.
Right.
And then yeah, I found out that the company was going to go bankrupt and they were trying to sell it like that.
Wow.
So I had a lot of money on my pipeline that installs they didn't get paid. I lost like $35,000 with them. And
Wow.
so it was like another freaking dip again. I'm like, fuck, okay, there you go. But at least I already knew the skills, and I just jumped into another company, and I just became like a solar hoe. I was working for like different companies with like my little team, but I figure out a niche, the Hispanic market. This is where I was really good at. I found out that working with Latinos, I was able to build their trust because I wasn't there fucking them over. Like I was legitimate helping them.
Yeah, you
Because
were for
solar
this.
panels before this whole change with Trump, they used to make sense. Before you needed batteries, they used to make a lot of sense. People would actually have see a lot of savings, with panels. Now it's hit and miss. And is this whole thing going on with the utility companies, the solar panel? It just became this big old mess that you can still sell solar panels, you can still probably make money, but they don't work the same.
Right.
Batteries suck, they're more expensive. It's not good business anymore. And but I was still doing it, I was still pushing it because I was still making good money. I was driving to different states like Texas, Florida, selling solar panels in those cities, but I was always searching for the Latino markets, because I already had my pitch. Every time I come into a door and I'll be like, hey, Roger or Rogelio, ¿se acuerda de mí? Uri, yeah, we talked because I already knew that been knocked so many times because the industry has been old already for like over 5, 6 years, and everything already got knocked. There were so many teams, so many companies. I'm like, yeah, I came in about 6 months ago. I was talking to you about the panels, and I noticed you still don't have them. What happened? Oh, well, this, and that. I built trust and I close them. Right? Then that's what they changed my name to Uri the Closer. I was just closing, 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 and I loved it for a while, man, until recently where solar didn't make sense. And now I'm going back to, but even at that point, I liked it, but I didn't love it. Like this part of my part of me didn't like it. It was like my dreams were like into opening my business and creating my company. And so it's like, imagine you break up with your girl and you marry somebody else, and it's not the same, and you keep thinking about the other person. It was like it was shit.
Yeah. Once an entrepreneur,
But
always
you're
an entrepreneur. Once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur. That go back.
absolutely. And so it didn't make sense. It didn't feel right. I used to make good money, man. Sometimes I made like $40,000 in a month, and it was money was really good, but money wasn't even the problem. Money wasn't even fulfilling me. And I just felt like I wasn't doing anything that I love. And then a buddy of mine that used to work in solar with me, he told me, he's like, bro, I'm getting into life insurance. And I'm like, oh no, BS. I ain't gonna go rich to my friends and family and bring them to a marketing scheme and hire people. And because I seen that they work from like, I don't know, like 10 a.m. to like midnight and cheering up because they have one sales. And then I noticed that all these people, they're getting ripped off a lot. They don't the big companies, they're not paying them well. Their premiums are very low, so they're making very little money on their life insurance on sales. But then my buddy, they figure a system out, of how to sell life insurance remotely through a process that we developed, because I was part of that too when the on beginning stages are like, hey, help us build the script. We're only going to focus on this specific niche, and this is how we want to sell it. So I got with my buddy, we built a good script, and it worked. I was still doing solar, and he kept doing the life insurance and Medicare and all this stuff. Next thing you know, kid makes so he went on this challenge on his own. He just challenged himself. He said, in 3 months, I'm gonna be making $100,000 a month. I don't know how, I'm just gonna do it. Like Grant Cardone says, commit first, figure out later. That's the problem with people. When you have a goal, you want to have everything set up, so you can achieve it. And it's not like that. When you want something, you got to go and fucking let those problems hit you in the face so you can, build it and create things. And I'm sure you guys went through it when you guys open up your business, you know,
Still do.
and still
we
do.
still,
It's
we,
a never end.
we still have shit, hit our face all the time. I mean, every day it's something new, but with that, you learn from it, and then you say, okay, like now you know how to dodge it. Now you know how
You
to
know how to
confront it.
strategize and
Yeah.
It's all about shifting. When business, you have to be able to adapt
Adapt.
at any moment, because if you think that business is going to look a certain way and it's going to stick that way, you're living a dream. Every day brings new problems and new bullshit. And if you're not
Yeah.
ready to face them and move and shift, you don't belong in business. And if you think it's, sweet
Yeah.
all the time, that's cute.
And
Right?
That's what I understand. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say like it's you always have to and just like what you did, right? You saw the trends, you saw the forecasting, you said, okay, you know, you see what's going on with solar panels. It's not, this high tide is you're not gonna, ride it forever.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look ahead and you always have to see, okay, what's the next move?
What's
Where
the
where are we going,
Mhm.
generate this income?
What's the trajectory and what's like the shiftings that are, for example, like right now, business is shifting. Everything is shifting. And like, you have to be able to look ahead and be like, well, now everything is online, everything is, e-com, you hardly have, actual, businesses that have offices even, everything is digital now.
Everything's digital. You're right. And so I remember when I was working at my software company, I learned how to make websites, right? And that was one of my hustles on the side. I'll be going on Google looking for people that didn't have social media presence, and I'll be calling them. I'll be like, "Oiga, don Rogelio, usted tiene una compañía de landscaping, right? You have a landscaping company." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, can I see your pictures on your website? Oh no, no tengo página. And I'll be like, oh, why? Do you think you're missing out? It's like, well, yeah, but I just don't understand how that thing works on the social media. And I was like, well, and that's the reason I'm calling you. I'm an expert on building social media presence and blah blah blah. Bro, I used to have this girl in Colombia that I'll build the content. If there was ChatGPT, man, I'll build it like this. But there was not content creation that back then. Everything was like on my head. So I used to build the content, like to fill up the information on the landscape on the websites, and then same thing for social media. So I will create a package. I'll give them a Facebook, Instagram, and a landing page, and the ads for $2,000. It used to cost me to make the logo used to cost me $20. To make the what it to create the website used to cost me about $100. So I used to make $1,500 and I invest $500 on that. And I just started calling people on Google from my house. So that's what kind of like what rescued me when my company crashed and stuff. And I used that for my businesses, like that experience. But yeah, it's then from there, man, it became this when my buddy Kike, so he uploaded that video, and he said, I'm making $100,000 a month within 3 months. I don't know how, but I'll figure it out. First month he makes this is a 28, no, now he's 28 years old now. I admire this kid since day one, bro, because this is a handsome looking kid. He dresses really nice. He's well knowledge. He speaks well. He reads. He's not out there chasing women. He will become a millionaire. I know that for a fact. And he's close to become a millionaire, man. And then this kid, he's like, I'm doing this, and he started throwing those videos online. And then next thing you know, the first month he makes like 12,000, out of the $100,000 that he wants to make. Well, the next month he makes 44,000 or 56,000, bro. And I was like, fuck. And then boom, he made $102,000 in 100 days, bro.
Oh wow.
In 100 days, right? And I was like, hey, bro, so let's retouch the conversation that we had about the insurance. And I was like, bro, this is funny because it was literally the Wolf of Wall Street. Show me your pay stubs, and I'll quit.
I know, good job.
Yeah,
I love that
we were
movie.
literally talking about that, like, bro.
Yeah.
I know you must have told us something like that because that's crazy.
Yeah.
Bro. And he's like, okay. He's like, I'll show you. I'll show him my pay stubs. And then he just started fucking throwing. I was like, what the fuck is the catch? He's like, bro, we figure a system to make money, and you're literally helping people out. And I was like, okay, I'm interested. And I I was supposed to be flying the next day to Texas. I already had the flights and everything, bro. I called. I'm like, I'm not going. bro, we need you. You're the closer. I'm like, I'm sorry, bro. I'm not going. I'm just gonna fucking risk it. I had enough money saved up to survive. Why? Because I usually, when every time I used to get paid, because they're a big chunk of money, I used to pay my bills ahead of time. 3 4 months like ahead. So I didn't have to pay bills or anything for the next 3 to 4 months. So I had enough time to take a risk. And yeah, luckily, because I helped him build a script, I already kind of knew everything. So he gave me his leads and everything. I call, and bro, the first week I made 7 grand. The first week, yeah, yeah. It just like the first week I made 7,000, and I was like, it takes me 3 months to make 7,000, because it's not that in solar panels you can make a sale, but it takes like 3 months to get them installed. It's construction.
Right.
And during those 3 months, bro, people can pass away. People can just get cold feet and just cancel your contract, or whatever. Even the roof didn't make it. It was like there were so many variables to get the glass on the roof. And this is not it, because you sell a policy today, you get it funded the same day. The next day, you get paid on the third, fourth day. So the first day, I sold 3 policies, a couple and somebody else. And I was like, holy shit, like it was like this is good money, like I shouldn't see this coming. And then long story short, man, I just like all in. Now we're building a team. I have probably right now I have about 6 people taking their test. They're gonna join us. The beautiful thing though is that we are rebuilding the whole industry, because the in the past, for you to make your get your license, you have to go and work for like Prime America or WB bullshit companies. And then you like they ask you to like dress up, and time consuming, right? One of the things that I own, it's my time, bro. I own my time. If I want to go and freaking go to Colombia tomorrow, I'll go to Colombia. Dude, I was in Colombia for like 3 months, right? And so I own my time. I don't want nobody owning me. And so, yeah, from this point on was like, all right, let's do this. Let's get this started. And I brought my business partner from Solar to with us. We got those licenses. It's expensive to start, we talked about that earlier, but yeah, it's the product that we're selling. They're the IULs. You guys heard of the IULs? Kind of.
Very vaguely. I mean, we have kind of an understanding, and I've seen it. I've seen it pop up on Instagram, but do we know fully what it is? No.
It's not hard to understand. What you first need to understand, it's especially us coming from Latino families. Was I have this memory in the back of my head. One time I was driving for Uber in San Francisco, and this passenger asked me, he's like, "Oh, where you from?" He's like, "Oh, I'm Mexican." Like, "Oh shit, you don't look Mexican." I'm like, "What does a Mexican look like?" He's like, "No, don't get me wrong." He's like, "Usually they're short, they're morenitos, and you're like you're just too big." And I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm Mexican." He's like, "I love Mexicans. I love them because they're hard workers." My guy that does my landscaping, he does my landscaping. Then he's got a taco stand, and then on the weekends he doesn't this. He like 3 jobs, and it hit me because my mom used to have 3 jobs, and I never spent time with her. You know, and I was like, "You think that Latinos and man, I hate when they refer to us as donkeys, because we're just workers. We're just slaves of work. We doing all the hard work, and I hate that. I don't like that. We're smart people, but we're dumb because we don't know how to invest. We know how to work. We know how to make ends meet, but we always get paid the least, for jobs that they're like, "Oh, you're taking the jobs." Like, yeah, because nobody wants to pay, and we'll take anything just to survive. And what this does is like it's changing the whole narrative. You're learning how to put in money aside, but then when you talk to when I have the my clients in Spanish and we're talking, they're like, "Oh no, I don't want to invest. Last time I was on this and they took my money, and
That's basically like what
that's
most
savings for them."
it's like they do
Yeah.
like the short term, like, okay, well, we're gonna save, $100 a week and we're gonna give it to, Josefina.
Now, you
Yeah.
know what? Let me give you a little story about that. When I was, like, younger, I was, like, 18, 19, I used to work at a warehouse, and someone brought that up, like, Fontina, I'm like, "The fuck is that? Like a store or something? I don't know."
Store.
thinking like, I don't know, and they're like, "No, like, that's how you save money." I'm like, "Okay," but I always thought it was stupid. Let's just start off with that. But I
Mhm.
said, all right, I'll do it." I got the last number, let's just say that. So then by the time it got shut up. By the time it got for me to get paid, they're like, "Deuces, no, you're not getting paid." I never got
Wait,
paid.
you paid the whole time, then when it
And
came
they're long, bro. They're like 6 months.
Yeah, they're long. It's a very long time, and I didn't know, so I kept paying
and
because 'cause I'm like, "I pay my dues,"
and that's the
and
worst part.
I never got paid.
The
And
worst
that's
part
when they don't trust you.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "Hold up, that's it. I'm not trusting anybody anymore because like, they played me."
Dude. So this is then they come in, they're like, yeah, I invested in crypto. What coins? Well, I invested on this guy that knew this guy that knew this guy. And I was like, bro. I mean, and I tell him, I'm like, you're failing on your investments because you're not making research. And it's okay, it's not your fault. But you're in race with Google, you're in race with ChatGPT, you know? Because and it's sad, bro, because most of my customers, they're like already hitting their 60s, 55, 60s, and they want to put $100 aside. And they're like, bro, $100 is not gonna make you a lot of money. I'm like, but I'm letting you know, let's build a strategy. And I'll tell you based on your goal. So what I do first when I sit down with them, I listen to them. I ask them, I'm like, what is your goal? And be open with me. Just tell me exactly what you want. Okay, well, I have people that even at 50 want to buy their house. Okay, how much is down payment? How much is the house? Where do you want it? What area? Is it in Mexico? Is it here? How much money do we need for the next 10 years? Okay, and then we figure it out and we're like, all right, well, we're going to need to put this much money aside. And then, so the way the IUL works, it's a very different life insurance than the average because everybody knows terms and everybody knows whole life, right? The terms means that say now you open up a term and you're paying $100 a month for 10 years. If nothing happens to you, all the money is lost, just like car insurance, right? And so when you lose that money and you want to go and sign up again with insurance, but maybe now you have diabetes, maybe you had an accident, now you're risk for the insurance company now, and now they want to ask you for more money and give you less of your premium or your face amount. So to me, the whole the any life insurance is better than no life insurance, but I wouldn't pick that one out. Then there's the whole life. The whole life is it's basically it. You're paying insurance for your whole life, so when you pass away, you leave something for your beneficiaries. And
Right.
that sucks because you're not using that money wisely on your own. Like imagine somebody passes away, gives the money to the wife gets married again and gives the money to the Sancho, the whatever, and then your money's long gone, right? Or it could be good for to help your kids or whatever. But it's still you didn't get to enjoy that. You didn't get to use that money wisely on your end, and you paid so much money. What the IOL does, it was created in 1997, so it's not old. Like most of the insurance programs, they've been built for over 120 years. I mean, NLG is one of the companies they've been in business for 120 years. These things are old, right? And then not that long ago, they created this way of building wealth, building money, so you can. So think about this: you're making a premium payment, make investment of $200 a month, right? Part of the money goes into your life insurance, and then the other part of the money is going into the investment at the S&P 500. All right, the S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in the US, like the Nvidia, the Facebook, the Apple, all those companies that they're making their 10% increases every year. That's where your money goes. Your money's already going there because if you have it on the bank is already using that money and putting it on investments for their own and making, but they give you assurance that your money is safe. But think about it. Fuck, before the pandemic, subways used to be $5. Now, how much is a subway?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
double that.
$15, And,
yeah.
and, and so that tells you that your $5,
It's not
that subway used to cost you $5 now costs you three of those dollars, three of those $5 bills. So having the money in the bank hits you because of inflation.
Right.
And so it's not very smart to keep all your money on the bank in the bank because of the inflation cost.
Specifically, like, having it in a savings account, right?
Yeah, and they're making money on that. They're making riches out of that. So what if you put your money on the S&P 500? You don't need an IUL to start investing on the S&P. You can open up Webull, you can open Robinhood, all those investment apps that are available, Binance, and then you can start doing monthlies, and you will make the same amount of money from the IUL on your S&P 500. The problem with investing privately is just the same risk as a 401k. If the market goes down, your money goes down. And right now, I do invest in crypto,
So I
and
think
all the crypto coins are way down. I'm not gonna sell. I'm just gonna wait until they go up again.
Right.
mm,
So, but imagine you're already 64 years old. You're gonna retire next year, and then boom, all these people that got hit with the pandemic and the 401ks drop, now they can retire at 65. They have to wait for 67 because they don't have a safety net that prevents them from losing money. And that's what the IUL does. All the money on the money side, you put in your monthlies, it's invested on the S&P 500, you have a ceiling. If the market goes up to 20%, you're only going to make 15%. 15% is the top, but the average is between 8 to 12% on average. 6, 8, 12% is the interest that the S&P has been giving for the last 35 years, and is very, very it's and so your money goes into the S&P, you're investing it, it's growing, it's growing. What you want to hit is compound interest. All these investments plus the interest. Next year you invest all this new money plus the old money, and then it's just like this little snowball effect that is going to turn into an avalanche, but it takes a lot of time. This is not a oh, I'm already 65, I want my money in 5 years. Like, yeah, you can, but you just have to invest a lot more money. Like, if a 40-year-old invests right now, by age 50 he's going to have a lot of money on their account. I have customers that their grandkids are already investing, even before they're 18 years old, you know and so the money that goes in there, why is better to have an IUL, is because you're never this is the only policy, this is the only savings that you always win, you never lose. It does have a floor, so if the market collapses, you got the safety net at 0%. You're not going to lose money. It's there. It's only at 0%. So the market fell, you're at 0%. When the market picks up, you start gaining money again.
So when even if the market's down and you're putting down 100, you're not gonna lose anything from that $100 that you're putting in.
yeah, but we know the floor. But what's like, okay, like, is there any caps
Yeah,
or anything like? Is there
yeah,
any?
15%. You're
Yeah.
not gonna make more than
More
15%.
than 50%. The cap is 50, but for the last 35 years, the market has been giving an average of like 8 to 12%. So it's not a big deal of like, oh, I didn't make my 3% higher, my 18% this year. I mean, if you're getting a 15% investment, fuck. I mean, the CDs only give you 4%, and but the magic of the IUL is this what's coming up now. The reason why IOs are so important is because they're tax free, because they belong to a life insurance. So imagine this: you made the same amount of money on your private investments on the S&P 500. Guess what? 20 years from now, when you pull the money out, you have to pay taxes. You have to pay taxes on all the money that you created.
Capital gain.
So
Absolutely. So there was this, I don't know who invented the IUL, but there were smart people. They're like, all right, what if we make this product, this instrument that it's always going to win, you're never going to lose, and then it's tax free? How do we do that? We attach it to a life insurance. Now it's not an investment account, it's a life insurance account. And on the IRS codes, life insurance don't pay taxes, you
so
know?
what's the
So,
difference from a Roth IRA to a what's the difference from that to a Roth?
and there's a Roth, there's a 1K, there is. Yeah, and but they're all different on their own way. Like, I have a customer that he's like, "Well, I'm gonna cancel my 401k and put all my money with you guys." I'm like, "No, you have to diversify it." Most of the investments are better, are good. Everything's good. Not investing is not good. So I was like, what about, like, find out if your job actually matches your investment, your 401k, dollar by dollar, because that's free money there too. You know, but at least don't use that money. Let the 401k run, because if you take money from your 401k before you're 59 years old, then yeah, you're gonna have a problem, because you're gonna pay penalized. You have to pay the loan back, and you have to pay taxes on it. But with the IUL, you don't have to pay for that, because it's already tax free. Say things 10 years from now, you guys are gonna buy another house, and so you don't have to go to the bank and get loans because you already have a loan amount there that you can just go and pull money from, and it's already tax free, and you want to use it on your own benefit, you know? And then
there anything where there's no penalty or there's nothing where you got to pay it back or
nothing. It's clean money. It's clean money, but it takes a while to grow. It's like everything. You're not. I tell people like the first 2 years is very slow. So let's say it'll take a while to do investments, but you will see more investments than anything else. As time progresses, I tell people don't touch your money for 5 years. Don't start making loans. Don't ask for loans for 5 years. On the year 10, it makes so much sense. On the year 15, bro, it just like triples or quadruples your investments. But it's a comparison. What options do I have? Okay, well, if I put it on this bucket, it's only gonna give me a 3%, but this is giving me an 8%, but this one charges taxes, this one doesn't. So those are the conversations that you're having with homeowners. Like people come in with a lot of money and they're like, yeah, man, I got a $500,000 that I want to put into work. What do I do with it? You can put an annuity, put money on the side, make that money work for you, pay you a monthly so you can live out of your savings. You hear the story when people say, oh yeah, if I ever hit the lottery, I just put my money to invest and I live off my interest. What is that instrument called? Everybody's talking about it, but nobody really knows what it is because we don't do the math. And those are like, so like the annuity works like that too, that you put an amount of money, it makes you a paycheck. Even the same paycheck can pay for your IUL. And then you have now three instruments working with you. But those are like, that's the magic of having a good, smart conversation with somebody that understands the industry, right? And then now on the life insurance side, it's a big animal. This is so good from the IUL. I had a homeowner. I had a customer, a client that he didn't want to sign up. It was him and his wife on the Zoom call. I asked him a question, like, let me ask you a question right now, and it's probably gonna be uncomfortable, right? What happens to you, Alex, if you're gone tomorrow? How is your wife gonna handle it?
well, it's gonna definitely, impact us, or more than anything, it's gonna impact her because luckily, I mean, we have a business and, she can operate it, but, there's nothing set in stone. There's nothing where it's like, okay, well, she's gonna have that money to sustain or, she's gonna have to keep working is what I'm saying.
Now, let me ask you a different question. What if something happens to you and you're in bed and you need attention every single time? You can't leave you alone, like a brain stroke, and you're on recovery. She has to be with you. Now, how does she work? What is she going to do? Who's going to run the business? And I ask people, I'm like, I ask those questions because those are the questions that nobody wants to be asked. It's things that makes you think. I'm like, fuck, like something really happens to me. So the guy didn't want to get an IUL. He was like, no, I'm good. If something happens to us, we'll sell the house. And the wife just steps up and she's like, we ain't selling this house. It's like, we're not selling this house. This is where your kids grow. This is where your grandkids are gonna be, and this is the house. And then she's like, if you don't want to pay for your IUL, I'll pay for it. He's like, but I'm not. Long story short, a year later, the lady calls. The husband got a brain stroke. You know,
Wow.
so the IUL works on a ways that if something happens to you when you're alive, it covers that. If you have an accident, critical illness, brain stroke, anything that stops you from doing your daily activities like showering or changing, you know, you automatically get your money from your insurance. If you were capped at 300,000, boom, you get $300,000. And guess what? You had 10 years of savings. Boom, you get that money too. You have
So
access to your
would
money.
you say it's like a long-term disability as well, right?
Yeah.
Ins
Yeah, it's your money. It's like it's if something happens to you, that this is why your money splits in two. And I'm gonna talk to you guys about when is it when IOLs don't work? Remember, we're doing a split. If you got $200, you have to know where you're gonna put them. If you're gonna put majority of your money on your insurance or on the savings, right? And this is a very a specific case for everyone. If I'm talking to somebody that is very ill, most likely we want to put our money on the insurance. If I'm talking to somebody that is very young, then we want to put more money on the savings. And I'll tell you, we make as an agent, we make more money if we put the money on the insurance side because believe it or not, it's less risk. And so when we put the money to invest, they make more money and that's when those crooked agents come in. We're like, oh, IULs didn't work. Well, how do they structure your policy? Did they put more money? What was the split? you know so when you talk to your agent, you have to let them know, like, if you're more concerned about building your money, increasing interest, put majority of the money on the savings and put less on the insurance, because since you're young, you're still going to have a bigger face amount. That's it. The only downside for the life insurance is the way they structure the policy. And so you have to speak with your agent, and once you have your agent your policy done, go back and verify that. Call your insurance agency, be like, hey, how did they do my split? Well, they did 75-25. Even, fuck, imagine 90-20 or 90-10, where like 10% goes into your savings and 90% goes into your life insurance. That's when you get screwed over, you know but people are dumb because they don't understand, like, yeah, you're not going to make a lot of money of difference. Like, you'll make more money, but you're not going to get rich out of one person. But what if you did it right, and then you talk to this new your client, and he loved it so much that he's gonna, especially Latinos, when you fuck somebody over as Latino, we'll point fingers. Don't
Yeah.
get close to that person, stay away, blah blah blah, and we'll make it sound. But if you do something right, we'll go to our 10 closest friends and family. And that's what happened in solar too. I always get a lot of referrals, and I ask them for referrals. I'm like, man, I hooked you up, I took care of you, I showed you that I did it, what I was gonna do, and I delivered. Now, I want your friends and family. Your goal is to build a better retirement, to have savings for your house, to have better life insurance. I already delivered. You already have that. I want your friends and family. I want you to call your cuñado, your compadre, the coworker, and we have very close people. Man, I love it when they call. Hey, can you help out my cousin? Can you help out this person? Can you help that? But you only get that when you're doing your job right,
Me
and I'm a big believer of karma, man. Like, I can't
yeah.
hurt people, especially after I did ayahuasca. I have this strong belief of doing things right. And then I have a blessing too. I do have a blessing. I'm one of those people that explores religions, right? I went to Cuba just to, like, figure out how the Santeria works. I like Buddhism, Taoism, Christianism, Catholic. Like, I'm curious about Muslim. I went to, like, Muslim temples just to, like, explore their culture. And it's not that I want to jump from one religion to another. I just want to know, why there's so many religions and stuff, and so many different things. But if you ask me what's my religion, I'm like, I go to Christian church, but I'm a big believer in the Virgen de Guadalupe you know? And so it's like, I don't even know what I am, but when it comes to, like, hurting people, I have that in my head. Like, I really want to do good. I really want to do good. Like, I know I can make a lot more money than just screwing up people, but I just don't want the karma, and I don't want that energy. I'm a big believer of energy, and I just wouldn't
Yeah.
want to screw people over.
At the end of the day, if you really look, I mean, I'm sure you explored many. The goal is unify. It's the same. Like, follow the light. Be good. No bad karma. No bad juju. Like, don't do anyone wrong. Like, that's
Yeah,
like it. It doesn't matter what religion you go to. I'm sure that that's the same all around.
absolutely.
That's something that we need, especially in the Hispanic community. It's someone like you that can come in and look at and explain it in a way that, you know, that they can have that confidence in you
Yeah,
to know that they're not gonna get fucked over. And in fact, you are trying to help them because our community is targeted, I feel, sometimes by our own people because they know we don't know any better.
right.
And I feel like that's why our culture is not really focused on, and maybe it's just our culture, like, we're more concerned about quinceañeras and,
Mhm.
like, saving for that or saving for the boda, saving for, but we don't really consider the future, investing, securing a foundation for our family and, for generational wealth. And that's the conversations we should be focused on, not worrying
Absolutely.
about, spending $20,000 on a quinceañera, which, that sounds great, but how about invest in your knowledge? Knowledge is power, and that's how
Yeah,
we can have a better future for our kids, because at the end of
right.
the day, if there's one thing I know is that we always want something better for our kids.
Absolutely. And I ask him that question a lot of times. I'm like, hey, senor, what took you this long? Why now? You're
Yeah.
already 55. Why now? Oh, well, he's like, I procrastinated. I just let time go, and now I'm worried because what if like you have beautiful kids, but they have fucked up husband and wives? Like, what if the nuera doesn't like you? You know, and so is this thing where people don't want to be they don't want to be weight on their kids.
Yeah, burn.
And so it's this things where like people don't understand that time flies and you have to make actions. And I get it because it's hard when you're closing a policy on the phone because you have to give your bank account and your social security number, you know? And then imagine you're dealing with the hardest industry, the Latinos that they've been fucked over because of the cundinas. And so, you know, and so it's like, oh no, es que si quiero, pero me chingaron and this and that. I'm like, man, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Like, if it sounds too good to be true, like I know IUL sound too good to be true, but fuck, think about it. When they run your social security, it's not because they want to know your credit. They don't give a fuck about your credit. They care about your criminal record, your driving record, and your health record, you know? And if one of those don't make sense, they won't qualify you. It's the hardest policy to qualify for. And it sucks, man, because like there's people that are like out there, man, I really want to, and they hide things from you, but they have everything exposed. And I tell them like, no, if you hide it, and if it doesn't match the policy, you're not gonna get it. So, man, as well, let's just talk about it. You know, this is where we have those crucial conversations, and we have to have them. We're talking about the dealing with Latinos and investments, and it's hard for them. But once they get it, man, it's so lovely, bro. Like even yesterday, a client called me because she gave me a remedy. Like she's like all into this, not supplements, like health food, right? Oh, que vas a hacer un jugo con Jamaica y con canela y que blah blah blah. And she calls me, hey, ya lo hiciste, you know. And so I sometimes I tell people, bro, I get paid to make friends, you know. And the conversations get very sad, man. You hear stories from people that um that they just the reason why they're getting insurance is because or the reason why they didn't do get any type of insurance or anything in their past is because they gave them all to their kids. Like, no, I don't care about me. It's just my kids, my kids, my kids. But they don't understand that time flies and you're gonna face your old you. And when you're facing that person that it's out there is it makes it hard, you know. You asked me about what are the disqualifications, you know, why people don't qualify for IULs. It's your criminal record is a huge one, you know. It's the biggest one on health. It's diabetes is like a big old no.
It's a big red.
It's huge. That's why every time you go to the doctor and you see the nurse, oh, what are you here for? Oh, but this is your results, blah blah. All this gets stored on your social security, and when they run it, everything pops up, you know.
Mhm.
And so that's why they make immediate decisions. They're like, all right, sometimes they go into overwriting. I tell people, you're lucky because people sometimes are like, oh, I don't know if I want to get it. I'm like, look, don't get it, man. You're lucky if you qualify. You know, you're lucky if you qualify. I have people on their on underwriting waiting to get qualified,
To get approved.
wishing that they're on your spot, wishing that they actually had. I'm like, tell me right now what investment is better than an IUL?
Quick question. What if you had diabetes, but now you don't have diabetes?
As long as you report that, you go get tested, you go get your lab work done, and you show people because I mean, when I dropped 129 pounds. You know, I'll show you guys a picture of like my before and after. And I remember I was diagnosed with diabetes. And they my doctor told me, fuck, my A1C was already close to 8.
Episode right there with you. You mean, shoot,
Yeah.
129 pounds?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shit. Like,
yeah. Dude, and it was all 7 meals a day. It was 7 meals a day, and I got big. Like, I got muscular. I got dude, I damn. And so but I remember when I was with the doctors, they diagnosed me with that they actually gave me medicine for diabetes. I didn't wanna take it. How did I lose weight? The ketogenic diet. I went hard on keto, you know,
Right.
and so I was doing more like calisthenics, running, and keto, and so the weight just started dropping in. And I remember I went for my first checkup, and I had already lost in 45 days. I had lost 30 pounds, and bro, diabetes was gone. Like if I had like 18-year-old, like when I was like 18
Right.
with no health problems, and the doctor was like, "Whoa," I was like, "I don't know what you're doing, but." it's okay for you to stop taking your medicine. Your sugar is way under control. And I told him, I was like, I never took your medicine. He's like, what do you do? It's like, I went on the ketogenic diet. I just eliminated 100% of the carbs and 100% of the sugar. And he's like, you know what? We actually have, they said that they only have like 1 or 2 classes of nutrition, but most of it's just medicine, and he's like, yeah, just keep it like that. Just keep it like that. And I haven't seen the videos ever again, and so I qualified for my IUL and I got a really, really good amount. So if you had it, go get lab work done. That way it shows that you don't have it no more, because a lot of life insurance companies, they give you more money if you're healthy. And if you were bad and you already have an insurance and you go run it again, they'll give you more premiums for your money. The savings will be about the same, but the face amount, like when something bad happens to you, it's what they will do, like they give you more money for that. So it's this things that not a lot of people really understand, so how it works, and it's not that hard. Just have good health, and don't get me wrong, man. Like I've seen a lot of people that they just want to hide it from you, and they're like hoping that it won't slip. But nothing on if it's on your record, it's going to show to every single company. But you have time to fix it, especially if you're heavy, if you have diabetes problems or like cardiovascular, or like there's a lot of things that can just be fixed by losing weight and by achieving that you can qualify.
I mean, it's true what they say, health is wealth, and if you're a healthy person, you have a better chance of being able to get an IUL or being able to get a better premium
Yeah.
because you're healthier versus, not taking care of yourself.
But ultimately, what I think that what we should also look at is, like, encouraging also the youth, encouraging the youth to start early, right? Is like, what is that an issue though? Like, what is there like a like that you have
So this is okay. Think about this. Say you guys start your IRL right now, right? You guys are what, like 35, 36, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So 20 years from now, you're 56 years old. You have $300,000 on your savings on your IUL savings account. You pass away and you give your kid $200,000. But you also teach him how to sign up for his own IUL and build his own wealth and his own investments, and he's building his companies, multiple sources of income. Now, your kid is going to pass over the money to the grandkids, right? And now the grandkids understand that, because now they have money, now they're they have a rich last name, that it took you guys to build it. It took you guys to make the first step to get your initial life insurance investments, and or even your business investments. They already in their head that they have to invest in order to have wealth. And now you're breaking the whole chains of the Latinos, because they don't teach us how to do that. Next thing now, the beautiful thing in the future is when they're like, oh, you're like your grandpa Alex. You're like when you have that guy used to, like, he came from nowhere, he had nothing, and then he built wealth, and thanks to him we have all this. So that's what you're building. It's a long term for the future, but also understanding that is a generational wealth. That's how you start building generational wealth for the future. And it's nice, bro. Like, I have a lot of friends that they come from rich families, and you're always wishing that you came from there. But it's a better wish that you become the person that started that.
Start that. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, honestly, that's something that I wish we can preach more, like, because it all starts with, one generation that makes a little change, a little shift, and then it just carries over just like you said. And
Yeah,
that's awesome.
it
It
carries on.
carries on.
It
It
carries on.
carries on. Honestly, Udi, this has been one of the most informative, and I know this is gonna bring a lot. It's gonna shed a lot of light to a lot of people, and it's gonna really, if anybody made it this far, like, I really hope that you take from this episode. It's like we have to look into our future,
Mhm.
and especially a lot of people in our circle where around the same time age, we have to look at investing in the future.
It's the bigger picture. It's like you said, it's like it all starts with, even if you didn't have it, even if your parents didn't know, now is the time
Yep.
to get, informed, learn, you know, it just understand how it all works and pass it forward.
And I would even take it a little a step further, and if I could target specific people, I can target entrepreneurs because we don't have, like you said, we don't have a job that has a 401k that would match what we put in. We don't have, a life insurance. Like, so I think honestly, I think an IUL is ideal for an entrepreneur that is
Absolutely.
out there working for himself. And for me, honestly, this IUL has been an eye opener for me. And I feel like this literally hits every single, item that I'm looking for. I'm looking to invest. I'm looking to secure my family's future.
And you're looking to secure yourself too.
Yeah. And then if something happens to me, like you said, what if one day I'm behind the wheel of a truck, I get in a wreck and I'm disabled? Now my wife doesn't have to really, be there. She could be there to take care of me. And now we're covered. Now we have, a plan B in place.
And you don't need a lot of money to start, because that's a big question. How much does it
The next
cost?
question, yeah, like,
Yeah, how much does it cost? I mean, when they're younger, like say if you sign up your kids, you can start them with $40, $50. It'll make money by the time they finish high school and they go to college. They're gonna have enough money to buy their first house and rent it to their friends, and then build equity. Once they leave college and university, now they can buy a second home, and now they have a portfolio. That's how you start building since they're young. And as an older person, like you say, for you guys self, you can start one with like $80, $100. Obviously, the least amount of money you put in is the more time it's going to take for that to be fed. You can change it. Like I have customers that they receive money every year, like let's say on their taxes, right? I have a guy that he receives a bonus on January, not his taxes, and he's like, man, by May I'm out of money. I usually get like $8,000. By May I'm out of money again. I'm living paycheck to paycheck, and I make good money. I just don't know where the money goes. And I was like, all right, well, why don't you put in? You have a $150 IUL. Every year we put in the $3,000 into that account, or $5,000 from your money, and spend the other $3,000 on BS, and at least you already fed that policy. Now it's going to start increasing because and now we go back and change it to $150. But once a year we can personalize that. If you have it at $400 and times are getting rough, and they're like, the people are scared, like, what if things don't work out, and I'm struggling. But well, you don't understand. You're already, the money's there. You're saving it. The money's yours. You have access to your money. It's even better because if you need to borrow money from yourself, you just go grab it. It's your money, you know. And so you're not losing the money. All you're doing is allocating part of your money into a savings account that is always going to increase, and you're never going to lose. That's it.
Let's just say, if I'm a business owner and we put, let's just say, $400 every single month. Now, is that a tax write off?
It's not a tax write-off.
Okay.
No, it's not a tax write-off. It's you're still investing on your IOL, but it's just it just increase on sales, increase your interest rates. Like I said, the biggest challenge is going through the first and the second years, because you do have to pay for insurance. You have to pay for all these things before you start seeing good savings. But if you stick around on the year five, is going to make a lot of sense. I tell my clients, I'm like, year five is gonna make sense. Year 10, you're gonna be thinking about me. Year 15, you're gonna put a little velita, with my picture on the altar, because of this.
Sanuri.
Yeah, it takes a while. It's not, if they're thinking, "Oh, I'm just gonna put in money and just become rich in the next year," it doesn't work that way. It takes a while. You have to fit the policy. We usually call every year. We sit down, we go through numbers, making sure, see if they want to opt upon. A lot of people, they just automatically, once they see their money's invested. Like I had a guy he was afraid. I think he was afraid of, like, making sure that everything was legit. And when everything was good and good to go on his app, he just added an additional $300 to his policy. Now he's at $400. I have people investing $5,000 a month. I have people investing $80 a month. I'm like, it doesn't matter the amount of money. What matters is you start taking action, because you just look back and you're like, man, if I would have started by the pandemic by now, just stop fucking crying. Do it. Just do it.
it's
You know?
prioritizing, right? Because I feel like people have this fear of like, "No, voy a perder mi dinero. No, you invested y it's gonna leave, whatever." I'm like, "Well, what happens every time you go to Disney? You have a Disney pass? How much do you pay?"
Yeah. I told like this guy yesterday I signed up this guy, right? And I talked to him and I called him, and he's like, I gotta do it. I gotta do it, but I can't. You know, I'm going to Mexico. When I come back in January, I'm gonna do it. I'm like, Omar, my job is really hard, but I'm gonna tell you things in your face like nobody is. How dare you taking your family to another country, taking a big risk that if something happens to you over there, you're leaving them here alone. You know what is gonna happen? I'm like, I've seen stories where people go to Mexico and they just literally crash because you have control of yourself, but you don't have control of the environment.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But now, even if you start, because you want to start with like $300, I'm like, start with 100. Just have your insurance safe. Just we're gonna put your money for your insurance. At least if something happens to you, you're taken care of, bro. He was even we had like the stress of like he was about to board on the flight. He was already at the airport, and we're like literally trying to get the policy approved before he flew out. And it's that it's like you don't make decisions until something really bad happens to you or somebody around like passes away. Now you wanna get it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with Latinos. You know, we feel that we're Superman and Iron Man and nothing is gonna happen to us, but until something happens, that's when we'll react. So we just gotta change that narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why we're doing this. This is exactly why we are taking the time to really break this down and really have eye openers for people because you don't know. You don't know tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's not. And the last thing we want to do is leave that burden to our loved ones. We don't want
Yeah.
to go ahead. I remember, dude. I remember when my dad passed away, unfortunately, he didn't have that in place. I remember I had to go out and we had to luckily we had family, we had friends that really poured in and supported us. But I had to go and do car washes and because unfortunately, my dad was an entrepreneur, but he just didn't have that in place. And that
Bro, it would have been a different page for you. It would literally be a different story.
exactly.
Yeah. And it's funny, bro, because Latinos are like this. Oh, yo amo a mis hijos, yo doy mi vida por mis hijos. Wait, dales un pinche seguro. Give them a freaking insurance. You know, if you say you're loan so much, you'd rather go spend the money with the cervezas and el 7-Eleven. Bro, how many?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is your policy. Have the money, you just don't have the discipline to do it. You just want to. Then how is it that you're telling me that you love your kids? That's not loving your kids. That's you're being a hypocrite. And it sucks because I tell people like that. I'm like, no, you're lying. You have money, you just don't want to do it. What is? I mean, 'cause usually when people don't get the policy, it's three things: it's the money, the person, or the company. Which one of the three? If you don't have money, can we figure out a way to get that money? Can you pull $100 out of the month? Why don't you tell your wife you go 50 and I go 50? you know let's get one policy going. The person that makes the most money, the person that if the person goes away, this is going to collapse the whole family. This is the person that we're going to take care of first, and then next year when you get more blessings from God, we open up her policy or we put in more money to you. But this is when you have to structure a plan from now. But the biggest thing is stop fucking procrastinating. Take it now. Let's do it now.
Yeah.
And it's the little things, like you said, you know, a husband could be going and buying, a tall boy every day after work
Hmm.
or every weekend he's busting out the carne asada with
Yeah.
with the family or with the boys.
Hmm.
And the wife, she could be getting her Starbucks every single day, spending $8, $10.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Or imagine every year, this is very common in Latinos, Mexicanos especially. Oh, I'm going back to my country. You go with the mamalona, you tell everybody how much money you're making, but no,
They want to.
yeah, you're flashing money, but you don't have a little bit of money to put aside for your family, you know? So those are the stories that the biggest challenge in on what I do is just making people wake up and be like, all right, man, this is it. You're already 50 years old. You're gonna be 60. I have people that are applying for an IUL at 69 years old,
Damn.
and they want to put in $100. I tell them, I'm like, look, man, let's just put money on your final expenses. But your health is not good, yeah, like oh, let's put the money on a whole life because you're not gonna see savings. I mean, hopefully you'll last for 90 and at least you have you enjoy that money. But what about all this time that you let go? You can't let go time. You have to take actions like yesterday. When is the best time to go do an IUL? Last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever you found out about that. You know, those are the things and the biggest challenges.
So,
Well,
Yuri, like if someone right now is moved by this video right now and they're just like, I need to get on it. I need to get in contact with him. I need to get started. What do they got to do?
Just you can call me. My number is 909-413-7555, or you can go on my Instagram live by Uri. Very simple.
We'll
yeah,
tag that.
we'll go ahead and
Yeah.
we'll put it somewhere on the screen
Yeah.
on the. I'll put your handle on YouTube, and people need to hear about this, bro. And
Yeah.
so I'm glad that we talked to you guys. You guys, any questions about how to get started, what to do? This is your guy right here.
Yeah.
Talk
Absolutely.
to him, let him know, and break it down. That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna hear you out. He's not gonna sell you on what he wants to sell you. He needs to hear what are your goals, what are your concerns, and then from there he'll cater it, and it's gonna be designed specifically for you and what your goal is for the future.
Yeah. We got to start thinking about the future, guys. And it
Yep.
all starts with us. We didn't have that opportunity to learn it from our parents. Then we have to be the shift, the game changer here, and start focusing on our future for not only ourselves, but for our kids and their kids and so on and so forth. This is the time to start building that generational wealth and shifting that narrative, the stigma of, all we are, what did you say, Woody? Mules or donkeys, and that's all we're known for.
Yeah, we're not donkeys. We're not donkeys. We're creators. I mean, we have so many businesses.
We're entrepreneurs. We're generators. We make things happen, and knowledge
L-
is power. So let's go.
Latinos are on the rise.
Yes,
We're
Yeah.
let's
on the rise,
go.
and we are one of the highest populations that are being business owners. We
Yes,
are entrepreneurs, and we are setting the trends, and we are breaking those chains.
yeah,
Yes, dude. I mean, you nailed it when you talk about how many people that are entrepreneurs. Imagine how many people own landscaping companies,
yeah. We're
construction
one of
companies, and none of them have like this type of insurance, you know? And it's at least and it's funny because you don't have to go break your bank. You don't have to like, oh, I'm gonna invest. How much is it gonna cost? It starts very little. Once you start seeing it's accumulating, you're gonna. I mean, it's addiction. You just want to feed it with more. You know, you want to. Hey, you got a blessing next year where like you made an additional $5,000. Hey, save $500. Put them into your IUL. Just feed it. Keep feeding it. Keep feeding it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, well,
Yeah,
this was
2 hours.
good. Yeah, this has been our longest podcast that we ever done, and it's like I told you, it's like once we hit that record, it just flows, and especially when the content is great, the information is just so crucial. But I wanted to take the time, and I wanted people to understand who you were. I didn't just want to put a sales rep on our channel and just see, oh, okay, what's he trying to sell? Like,
Yeah, we wanted to know your background.
exactly. So I'm very thankful that you took the time
Yeah,
to be on this podcast with us, and that's what this channel is all about.
yeah.
We're trying to better ourselves spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. Like it's all around.
All around. Yeah, it's not
So,
just about the gains, but I mean, it is many different kind of gains.
Absolutely.
But
This is what it
yeah,
is.
before we hop off, I just want to say, like, your story, sir, is, fucking admirable.
I
Like,
love
I
my life.
was like this, I was hooked. I'm like, "Dang." It's like, it needs to be a movie or a book. Think about it.
No,
I'll
I love my life. I'm so grateful with my life. Like I swear, like it's my up and downs. Like it's this roller coaster where you're like, think you're
Yeah,
already there, you're already feeling it, you
yeah.
taste it, and then
Oh
all of a sudden
my
everything brings down. But no,
yeah,
man, it's life. This is what people need to understand that that's life. Life is not only beauty. Life it's hustle. We need to struggle so we can appreciate life and our better ends.
I
yeah.
don't take any failures as failures, I take them as lessons. That's something that I've learned
Yeah.
very, very I mean, in business, that's how it works. Like, anything that ever goes wrong, I look at it and I digest it, and I'm like, "It fucking sucked." But I learned a lot. I learned a lot. So I don't take it as a failure. So, even though you had the downs, I bet you now that you're up, you're like, "That ain't gonna happen again." Right?
Uh,
Yeah.
You learn from them. All right, kiddos. Well, it was a lovely. Thank you for having me. You know, maybe the next one we'll do a whole ayahuasca and psychedelics.
I
Agree.
be so down.
We might, yeah, we might take
Podcast on ayahuasca.
we're gonna do one on ayahuasca.
Oh my God.
We'll do another one about our weight loss. You know how we worked on it and the struggles and the mindsets and stuff. You know, there's a lot of information out there.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It's
Yeah.
I mean, apparently we can talk for hours. So
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you know where to reach me. Anything, I got you.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You have a good one.
You too, man. Take care.
Well, guys, we just had, like I said, one of our longest podcasts, but honestly, it's this one just flew by. I mean, I feel like, there was so much information that we got, that we learned, and I really hope that you guys gain something from this.
This podcast was to share that knowledge, share the wealth, because that's what we're about. We want to make sure that our community that we're building, we want to lift each other up. We want to lift each other up, not only with our health. We want to obviously, we want to get better. We want to get healthy. We want to encourage each other and help each other in any way that we can, because it's not a perfect world, but also in sharing knowledge, with people that we have relationships that we're building, that we're learning all these things that are going to benefit us in our future. We want to share it with you, because it's like, Uri said, a lot of times we just feel like we're getting played. We're getting, it's a scam or this and that. But let's get out of that mindset and start understanding how this is really going to benefit us in our future. And I know we've all heard about, IULs and Roth IRAs and 401ks and what's the difference and whatnot. I know I have. But this one right here really taught me a lot, and now I understand, and I hope you do too. So, I mean, other than that, I just want to thank you guys, and I'm sure, Mr. Alex over here wants to thank you too, but
No, yeah, thank you guys once again. This is Heavy to Hustle. You guys know where to find us, and if you don't, we're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Just look up Heavy the number 2 Hustle, and once again, we'll be back next week. We love you guys. Have a great one.
bye.